皆さんこんにちは、こんばんは、キリルです。ザ・スタンリー・パラブル、今日もやっていきたいと思います。前回なんですけども、ナレーターの指示に全部従わず無視して行動したところ、ナレーターさんが、ブチギレてしまって、なんかいろんなゲームに連れて行かれました。前回の内容よかったら概要欄に載せておきますので、そちらからご覧ください。では今日もやっていきたいと思います。今日は特に何も決めてないんですけど、気まぐれで行こうかなと思ってます。はい、いつもの部屋ですね。今日どうしようかな。ほんまに気まぐれで行きたいと思います。
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
はいはい、メモね。会議室のメモに行きましょう。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
左行こう。今日はね、もう本能で行くよ、本能で。思ったまま行動する。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
はい。オフィスね。ここら辺になんかヒントがあるとかないミーティングスケジュール。はい。なんかそれっぽいけど。はい。え、開くねんけど、すげえ。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
ほんまに何もないんか？なんか繋がってないんか？隠し扉。
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
はい、すいません。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
登る？下りましょう。で、ここのドア開けましょう。開きません。赤い赤い。車ある。スタンリ
But
ーの車。
Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
それ俺思ってた。
And for that matter,
部屋にドア閉まったけど大丈夫？誰が閉めた今？スタンリーはもうボタン閉まったんやけど。だからなんで誰が閉めてるのっていう。
These rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
これは夢だ。
This is all a dream. Oh,
全部
what a
夢や。
relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield. And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and
いいえにしゃべる。
wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley.
じゃあ喋るや
After
ん。
all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the
すげえ。
voice not see him float and make the
ループしてる、
magical
ループしてる。
stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he
ループし
invited
てる。
himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin,
はいはいはい。
the press of the mattress on his
イメー
back,
ジして寝る時の体勢
the
を。
fresh air of a world outside this one.
さあ起きてくれ。
Let me wake up, he thought to
来
himself.
たらきっと自分の
I'm
家。
through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons.
もうこの世にはうんざりだ。
It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been.
妻おるんや。
My life is normal. I am normal.
至って普通だ。
Everything will be fine.
大丈夫。目開けたら
I am okay.
I am okay。目開けたら自分の家。目開けたら自分の家。あれあれ
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named
お、な
Mariella.
んか違う。マリエラという女性の物語が始まった。
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
あれ
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to
スタンリーかな、これは。
himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what
なんて
isn't.
皮肉なエンディン
It
グやこ
was
れ。
comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her
会議の相
life.
手は重要な人
She
々。
had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body,
死体言うてるやん。
and then she turned and ran.
あれ終わり終わったー。終わったー。今日早っ。なんか、なんとか、マリエラみたいな女性の人がいつも通り通ってたら、スタンリーが道路で倒れてて、普通がどれだけ幸せなのかっていうのをスタンリーが教えてくれたっていうね、ちょっと意味のわからないエンディングでしたね。こんな短いエンディングもあるということで、今日はここまでにしたいと思います。次回もよろしくお願いします。この動画面白かったと思ってくれた方、高評価、チャンネル登録の方よろしくお願いします。バイバーイ。